In 2025, I spent 250 hours listening Korean with a full-time job. Then I went to Korea. What I expected, conversation, understanding, connections, and what I've got, confusion and a lot of nodding. Did those 250 hours mean anything? Actually, yes, and here's why. Look, we all have this fantasy. We study a language for hours, even maybe hundreds of hours, and then we expect to be fluent and have deep conversation with the locals. But the reality is completely different, and that's not what happened. I went to Korea for a month and I was struggling. The question I needed to figure out, what did 250 hours of active listening do? Did I waste my time? Well, in this video I'm going to share with you how I managed to study 250 hours of active listening, what were my strategy and what results I've got. In 2025, I spent 300 hours of studying Korean, among them 250 hours of active listening, meaning, for example, I go on YouTube, I watch Korean content, will it be with subtitle or no subtitle in English or Korean, and I put my 100% focus on the video. And then I studied also 50 hours on making cards with the new vocabulary I discovered, and I review the card, and also in these 50 hours I have a bit of reading. So this is what I've done in 2025. Back at the end of 2024, I was very frustrated with my Korean study. I have the feeling of having spent a lot of time studying the language with textbooks and having no practical results. What I mean is that I couldn't understand a native speaker speaking, neither I could express myself on basic stuff. And so I went on YouTube, and what I really wanted to do at first in my Korean journey, one of my goals was to be able to understand native speakers. I found a YouTube channel, the Explorer. This is a guy from Nigeria who came to Korea, and he was making a lot of street interviews. In these street interviews, he interviewed a lot of foreigners and asked them how they managed to speak fluently Korean. A lot of these people said that they just watch YouTube, watch content in Korean, and just with the practice again and again and again, they were able to understand and then to speak and have conversation in a very, very fluent way. So I said to myself, I'm going to do the same. So I started to use YouTube by first watching videos of Talk to Me in Korean and K-Jin. This was very interesting for me because they propose content with subtitle both in Korean and in English. So I was able to understand the content as well as learning the language. A lot of time I noted down the vocabulary in order to put later on my Anki desk. Then in the process I discovered other channels that were more for intermediate or advanced learners. The first one was Didi Hanguk Munwahe podcast. So this channel is on a Korean girl who is proposing content for people learning Korean. At the same time, she proposed content in order to discover the culture of the Korea. So I really like this channel because at the same time you are learning the language, you are discovering the culture. So that's very fun. And the fourth channel I actively listened was Korean with Soul. So this girl is a Korean teacher and she's proposing content for intermediate learners. So that was very interesting. She speaks slowly, so that's very easy to understand her. So in 2025, I use mainly these four channels in order to study Korean with active listening. This year, I spent a lot of time writing down the vocabulary and putting them in my Anki desk, and definitely that was not fun at all. Also, what was really missing in this year is that I have no regular speaking practice, or I didn't even practice phonetic training. I mean, later, like at the end of the year, yes, but like for the 10th month, definitely no. I had some talks sometime with some Korean friends, but I think the problem was that these talks were very irregular, and I think that in order to practice, in order to improve your speaking skills, you have to do it on a regular basis. And honestly, in this year, in 2025, that was not the case for me. So what happened when I went to Korea in October 2025? First, I could express myself, so I was very satisfied with that on very basic conversation. And what I noted that I could use expressions that I actively listen a lot of time, and they just popped up automatically when I was speaking. Also, I am practicing a bit of photography, and I have the idea of going randomly to speak to Korean people and propose them like a 5 minutes shooting session. And that was very interesting because at the same time I was going out of my comfort zone a little bit and living interesting experiences by like taking pictures of strangers that I don't know at all. But I noticed that I was still lacking a lot of listening comprehension because when they were speaking like in a normal way, I was not able to understand them maybe 50%. So I was a bit disappointed on this point, but definitely the experience I had with this photography work was very interesting. So by studying 250 hours of active listening, what are my progress? Well, I can understand much more sentences than before at an intermediate or advanced level, so definitely I'm really happy about that. Also, I think I reached a comprehension with 2,500 words. I will like to reach maybe, 5,000 in order to have 95% of listening comprehension. But definitely, what I notice is that when I'm listening to a content now, it's like a puzzle. If you have all the pieces of the puzzle and you put them together, you have a nice picture. And for me, for now, this is not the case. I can recognize some pieces, so the words. I can recognize some words sometimes, but definitely putting them together to have the whole meaning, it's kind of a bit difficult for me. Also, by actively watching a lot of content, now I can easily go on YouTube, find the content at an intermediate or advanced learner and watch the content without having to struggle a lot. So I'm really satisfied because I opened myself to a lot of new content in an Asian language. And that's what one of my main goals when I started learning Korean. Also, I have the feeling that having listening a lot in Korean helped me to prepare my speaking practice. Now I'm quite confident that next year I'm going to implement speaking practice and I'm not going to struggle a lot to search for all the words in my head. And this is going to be, I think, a very pleasant exercise to do. Finally, by studying 250 hours of Korean content, I know that this is not enough to fully understand native speaker at 95% maybe. So I know I need to study more. This is part of the process. But having tracked the number of hours, I know at which level I am and I know what I miss in order to reach this level of comprehension. My guess is that I will need maybe between 600 and 1,000 hours of listening practice in order to have a very good understanding of native speaker when they will speak. So what's now? Now I'm going to keep on my Korean learning journey by adding this number of hours I miss in order to reach the level of comprehension I want. I will share with you everything, my improvement, my doubt, everything. And also in another video, I will share with you my Korean learning plan for the year 2026. If you like this video, please give me a like, post a comment or subscribe. This will help me a lot. And I see you in another video. Bye.